Beautiful sound of the bellbirds in the background, other birds. There's a lot of wildlife here. This walk probably requires a certain amount of dexterity. There are tree roots to navigate other things like that. What a beautiful place to be. There's lots of trees here that have these big buttressing roots. Let's have a look at this one. We can see that this one winds its way all the way back over to this tree here. And these trees aren't deep rooted, but they support themselves by having these amazing root systems. Have a look up there. See if we can zoom in a bit. Amazing bird's nest ferns over here. More ferns up there. There's a big orchid, a king orchid, a dendrobium. Not in flower now, but what a spectacular thing. They're amazing. Some really tall trees, some really beautiful stuff here. Wouldn't make a bad backyard, would it? Have a look at this big tree that's fallen. Have a look at these roots. It's a perfect example of the root system. Now the tree just spreads itself out in a star shape and spreads roots out all around the ground in all different directions. And here's another one. You can see this one, it's massive. This would have been a big old tree for sure. You can see how the roots all spread around there. Does mean you need to take a bit of care as you walk through the forest, because there are plenty of roots scattered across on the ground. Over here, this one looks a bit like a strangler fig. So, a parasitic plant. It starts way up there at the top somewhere. A bird drops a seed and it sprouts, and gradually it grows down the tree, and until it puts its own roots there. It would eventually kill its host, that tree in the middle, but it takes many years. And this strangler fig eventually will just keep growing out bigger and bigger until it's utterly massive. And the internal tree that it originally hosted off will be rotted away and gone completely. That probably will be after I'm long gone and dead. But there's a strangler fig for you. It's a beautiful atmosphere here. I have to say, I'm really happy to be here. It feels just so wonderful to be in the forest and to be able to explore. Look at this, these are such magical places. I'm so glad that they're here for us to be able to come and unwind. This one's pretty quiet. I'm the only person in the car park, only a small car park, not many facilities. Here you can see a strangler fig that's just starting out. It would have started just up there in that branch. And then it's working its way down, till it's found the ground down there. It's not part of the same tree, it's two separate trees. You can see that. All these entwining roots, grasping, will eventually kill that tree. But it's going to take it many years to do it. And it's just part of the natural cycle of life and death in the rainforest. There's a lot of birds in this forest. You can hear a lot of birds, and it'll be a very good spot for bird watching if that's your thing. I haven't got time to sit still really, if you want to bird watch, you've got to sit and be quiet. You can't be just rushing around the place like I am. Look at these little beauties. I love these little funguses. Such an important part of the forest. A really important part of that cycle of life. So the fungus helps break things down. Now look here. We can see on this little cane, it's called a walking stick palm. It's coming up with these little fruits. In another month or two, these will turn very bright red. So there's going to be an explosion of those red berries to see soon. Look, here's a great example of these type of buttressing roots. See this massive big wide root, this little tiny tree. I mean, the tree would have a diameter of maybe 30 centimetres, the trunk itself, but the roots spread out to 2 metres or more. That's amazing. That's what holds it, keeps it safe in strong winds. You can see here the tangle of roots that we have to walk through. There's really no spare space in here for more trees. The canopy can't let more light in. Every now and then you get a space where a tree's fallen, and that gives us a hole in the canopy. You can see this here. Look at these beautiful funguses. They've gotten old and started turning green. That's beautiful. Here's the tree I mentioned. This tree has fallen. When exactly, I don't know. But you can see directly above us, there's a bit of clear space. But we can see some of the other trees, like this smaller tree here, is now growing up to fill that space from where this tree has fallen. When did it fall? Don't know. Could be 10, 20 years ago. But it certainly had time to rot down a bit. More of these beautiful funguses. There's a few different species in here. I think they're pretty cool. And a whole bunch more of these walking stick palms. No, they do have another proper name, but I can't think of what it is right now. Now, there's a massive tree here. The sign tells me it's a white beech tree. Let's have a look and see if we can get up here somewhere near the top of it. It's a giant tree. It's absolutely massive. Look at it all the way up there. Beautiful crow's nests and other things. And this could be the beginnings of a strangler fig. Just starting to find its way down. You can have a look, there's a gap in there. See, I can put my hands through. It's not part of the tree, it's separate. Now have a look at that. It's an amazing tree, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. I think this place is really special. It's only a short walk. Anybody with a bit of agility would be able to do it. It's not much up and down hill stuff. I'm walking up a small hill now, but it's not a big deal. Ah, those birds are beautiful. Have a look at this. Been showing you some of those bird's nest ferns. Down here, we can see some little itty bitty bubby ones just starting out. So these don't produce seeds. I believe they produce spores, which then will fall down. Look at that. There's my fingers, just for a comparison. You can see how small that is. If we have a look way up the tree, we can see a whole array of different bird's nest ferns up there, different plants. Now these ferns that grow up there, they're epiphytes. They grow on the plant. I'm just having a little look here to see. Sometimes where these branches fall down, you'll actually see one on the ground. I can't see one, But unlike the strangler fig, which kills its host, these sort of plants live in harmony, and they don't kill the parent plant. So a lot of these ferns and orchids will quite happily live there together. They draw a lot of nutrients out of the air. The bird's nest ferns catch falling leaves, and then that breaks down, provides more nutrients. And because there's so much water in the rainforest, you can see here now something has opened up, and that's created this big open space in the canopy. So more trees will be able to grow up here. There's nothing started growing yet, but some of these other trees, they'll now have the opportunity to shoot up and go like crazy. And there'll be multiple layers to it. There'll be fast growing trees that will fill the gap early on. Then the other big slow growing trees, these giants that we can see around us, they'll slowly and gradually creep up and take over. But it takes decades and decades for this to happen. It's a constantly evolving cycle. One tree falls, other trees then have their life cycle, and so on. Have a look at this. All these beautiful funguses. This is a big old tree that's come down at some point. These are old, but they're still beautiful to me. I think they're called bracket funguses. Look, here is a big strangler fig. Look at that. This one's quite advanced. It's pretty old. I've seen them bigger, but it's a pretty big one. It hasn't killed the tree yet. You can see way up there. The original tree, we can still see the leaves on the tree. There's actually a whole bunch of orchids up in there. Try and zoom in for you. Not sure what you can see. Anyway, there's a bunch of orchids. But look at this massive tree. I'll try and put myself near it just so that you can get a concept of how big this thing gets. You see that? That's a big old strangler fig. What a beauty, eh? What a beauty. Try not to fall down and kill myself as I walk around here, because there's plenty of roots on the ground, as you can see. Now we're back in a darker, more dense part of the forest. We'll have a look up here. We can see that there's not much gap in the canopy. There's not much light coming through here. More bird's nest ferns, more orchids. Those things love it here. They love it up high because they suffer from fungal diseases and things. So up high where they get more airflow, they're happier. If you try to grow them at home, sometimes you have those type of issues where they need good airflow, otherwise they can have some problems. There's so much beautiful moss here, lichen, all kinds of different things. This is quite different to some of the other places I've been recently, where I've been probably in more drier forests, not so much in rainforest. But it just feels so invigorating to be here today. Just what I needed. Just what I needed. I can hear doves in the background. There are some really colourful doves here. Oh, look at these. Look at what I'm pointing the camera at. Completely covered in these funguses. From start to finish. Look at this one. Big ones, little bitty ones, all kinds. They're amazing. You can see them in the different phases. You've got something like down here. We've got very new ones, fresh ones, and then they come through from the nicer ones. They're getting older and softer, and then completely dried out and worn out and dead. It's amazing. The whole length of this tree is covered in these funguses. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now I'm just coming in here to get a bit closer to this. There's a fern close to us here. I'm just trying to see, can't see any today, but the underside of those leaves, that's where the spores will produce. You'll see it'll be like rows of brown dots up and down the leaves. And those are the spores that allow the fern to reproduce. Not sure if you can hear it through the video, but if you can hear that cooing noise, oh, look at that. I love that. Just a little stick with so many of these little bright oranges. There are so many fun colours in fungus. Even some of the colours in the new leaves on some of these trees and plants. The light coloured ones are the new ones, then they darken and harden as they go. That's amazing stuff. Up through the canopy. Wonderful. So if you can hear the cooing sound in the background, it's actually a very colourful dove that lives here. And now here's a good one. This tree here with the big round leaves. This is a stinging tree, and you don't want to touch that. You don't want to touch any part of it really, but it's covered in little fine hairs. See if I can get closer without actually getting stung. Oh, come on, camera. Not sure if anything's picking up. You might be able to see a backlit on the stem. All those fine little hairs, they will stick in you and they will sting you for hours. So you don't want to hang around too close to those trees. Be aware of them and don't touch them. If you're going to use leaves for toilet paper, definitely don't use those ones. Now back to the doves. The cooing sound is a very rare dove that lives around here. It's actually one of the very few brightly coloured doves. A lot of the doves that you'll see will be greys or whites or things like that. But these ones have actually got brilliant colours. I'll try and find a picture of one to show you. But they live here in this forest. And if you're very quiet and still, you might be able to find them. Another big old tree's fallen here. What a beauty. We're up in the mountains a bit here. Not sure exactly the altitude, but I think we're somewhere up close to 1,000 meters. We're right up in the mountains, but might be a little bit less. But some of this area was preserved. It wasn't as suitable for grazing country as some other areas, but listen to those birds. That's awesome. So many bird sounds. Look, here's a big tree, and you can see a fangler streak here. A strangler fig is just starting. Just have a look at those little roots. They've just found their way down. If we have a look all the way up the tree, all the way to the top, you can see, stupid finger. Didn't say I was good at this. You can see all the way up there. That's where the fig is starting. And it'll work its way down let's keep going. 20-minute walk. I'm stopping that often. It's probably taking half an hour, but it's beautiful here. It's really beautiful. Not all these vines are strangler figs. There are some that are just vines. They grow up from the ground and then wrap around things. You won't be able to swing on them like Tarzan in the movie, but have a look at these. Some beautiful little yellow ones. Have a look at this. It's a tiny little walking stick palm. It's actually going to fruit. That it's right down low. Oh, look at these! Look at these ones! Have a look at them. These are amazing. Big old bracket funguses. Oh yeah. Check that out. Yeah, that is massive. There's my hand for comparison. Amazing stuff. Look, there's more of them over here. I've got to get back around there. Look at it. There's a dinner plate. You could eat your dinner off it. Here are some fresher ones up on this tree. Look at these. They're beautiful. Now this is a big old dead stump. The top of him's come off at some point. Probably rotted a bit, blown off in a storm. And all of these ones. Clusters of little funguses. So many types. And the little teeny weeny ones. Amazing. What's over here? This thing is spectacular. Have a look at all these ones. So many kinds. So many things. What a beautiful spot. Now I know I tend to use the word beautiful a lot, but I can't help it. When I'm in a place like this, it just genuinely is so beautiful. How could you not think this is fantastic? Oh. Look up ahead of us here. Here's another example of a strangler fig. This one looks pretty advanced. You can see how it's almost closed in. So this is how it goes as it becomes quite advanced. If we have a look into the middle, you can see that the original tree is actually gone from here. I'll get a bit closer. Have a look in there. You can see that in that space, that's where the tree used to be. It's not there anymore. It's rotted away. And so the fig now stands alone. The fig itself still plays an important part in the ecosystem, and it's a place where some small mammals and marsupials can live and hide and hang around. And there you go. That's one of the actual figs that we can see on the ground. Something's been chewing on it. You can have a look inside. It's been all hollowed out. So something probably that lives in around this tree, it will have a little burrow or something. It will eat those fruits and live quite happily on this. So it's all important. It's all a part of it. Look at that. It's so huge. It would be like 5 or 6 meters across at the base. It's massive. What a wonderful thing. We're in a more sort of open area here. Got some stinger trees, some other trees. Some of these are younger trees that are growing up. So probably some of these trees that we can see down here on the ground, these will come down in storms at some point. and that's opened the canopy up. And so that gives this mid layer a bit more of an opportunity to grow. It's a bit denser here because there's more light for it. Then later the big trees will grow up, and some of those trees will be in amongst this, and they will eventually get bigger and bigger. Have a look at those beauties. Look at that. Those are amazing. What a wonderful place this is. We're nearly at the end of our little walk now. A bunch of birds. Maybe you saw them, maybe you didn't. Not sure. This is a red cedar. So this is what they came here to get in the early days. The loggers came in. This was known as red gold. They logged a lot of this. They shipped a lot of it out. It's made a lot of people heaps of money. The loggers had a pretty tough life. They lived up in the bush in camps. A lot of them were the first European people to break through into some of these areas, and quite a few of them would have perished out in the bush. Living would have been very primitive and very harsh, and it would have been pretty tough. We're back here at the camp, or not the camp, we're back here at the starting point. So as you can see, it's just a basic little place. You got a picnic table, a barbecue, there's a toilet, and like half a dozen car parks. But here's a great place that you can stop and have a little bit of a walk around. There's another walk here. It goes to a lookout. I'm not going to do it today. I don't have the time, but I tell you what, if you've got a spare half an hour, have a look at these fellas. These will be more of those swamp gums. Massive. If you've got some spare time and you happen to be in the area, it's well worth having a look in here at the Tooloom National Park. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.